All right, so this is a little different. I'm getting a little more close and personal with you guys. Instead of having the board in right behind me, I'm using smaller boards for our lessons because there's some things that I want you to see a little more closely. So today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about elapsed time. Now, I'm going to show you what that word looks like. Elapsed time. Elapsed time is the amount of time that is taken up. So we might have a start time, or we do have a start time, and we have an end time, and our elapsed time is that time in between. It's the time between the start time and the end time, and we figure out how much time has gone by between that start time and end time to figure out the elapsed time. So today what I want to do is I want to show you two different strategies. So this lesson is going to be a little bit longer because I'm going to show you two different types of strategies. So the first strategy that I'm going to show you is using a number line. Now, when we use the number line, it's going to be a little bit different because when we typically think about a number line, we think about numbers from 1 to 100, and we just keep going on with that. But when it comes to time, we know that 1 hour is 60 minutes. So our time, our number line, doesn't represent 1 through 100. It represents 1 through 60 because of the 60 minutes in an hour. So what I'm going to do is I am starting with a clean number line, and I'm going to put a start time. So let's say we're going to go to lunch at our typical time, which is 11:20. All right, so I'm putting 11:20 a.m. And then I'm going to say, all right, we are going to get ready to go home at 2:20 p.m. So there's my 2:20, there's my end time right there, start time and end time. So what I need to figure out is the elapsed time between 11:20 and 2:20. So what I'm going to do is I am going to use my number line and I'm going to go into intervals of time to help me decide how much time or the elapsed time between 11:20 and 2:20. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to start with my 11:20 right here, and I want to get to kind of like a base number or an easier number for me, which would be the next hour. So I'm going to bring that 11:20 to 12 o'clock. So I'm going to come over here on my number line. I'm going to get to 12 p.m. and I need to discover how many minutes that is. So here's my little hop that I made. I am going to remember that there are 60 minutes in an hour. So I'm not counting to 100. When I see this, I see that I'm at 11:20. So I feel confident that I could count by tens to get to 12 o'clock. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my clock here, just as a kind of way of looking at this. So I'm going to go to 11:20, go back in time here, going to 11:20, and I want to go to 12 o'clock. So I'm going to go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. So that is 40 minutes. I'm going to put on my little number line, plus 40, and I'm going to put MIN. That's the abbreviation for minutes. MIN period is the abbreviation. So that brings me to 12. Now I need to get to 2:20. So what I feel confident in now is I can easily kind of jump a couple hours. So I know if I go, I'm going to make a big jump here, and I'm going to go plus, I'm going to say plus 2 hours, okay? Plus 2 hours, and that's going to bring me to 2 p.m. It's a little bit messy, but there's my 2 p.m. right there. Now I have just a small jump that I need to make, and I'm looking at from 2 to 2:20, and that's showing me that that's going to be 2 or 20 minutes. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of my intervals of time here, and I'm going to do some addition, okay? So I'm showing I've got 2 hours, I have 40 minutes, and I have 20 minutes. So I'm kind of showing it like this. The reason why I'm doing that is because I have 2 hours. It would make sense for me to add 2 plus 40 because I have 20, I have minutes here, but my hours is more than 2 minutes. It doesn't make sense to add 40 minutes plus 2 because that's not, the 2 hours is not 2 minutes. So I can do this in a couple different ways. I can think about my 40 plus 20 in minutes and add those first and figure that out to the hours. Or I can change my 2 hours into minutes and then change that into hours. So I'm going to show you both ways, okay? So first thing first, I'm going to take my 40 minutes plus my 20 minutes. I'm going to add these two numbers together, and I know that is 60 minutes. So 60 minutes right there. Now, I know also, we just talked about this, I know also that 60 minutes is 1 hour. So I'm going to say I'm going to have 2 hours plus 1 hour, and that's going to give me 3 hours. So my total elapsed time is going to be 3 hours based on how I did this. Now I'm going to show you the other way I could do this. So I could also take my 2 hours and I could put that into minutes. So 2 hours is 60 minutes for each hour. So I'm going to add 60 plus 60, which equals 120 minutes. So I'm going to kind of take that, I'm going to erase this right now, and I'm going to put 120 minutes plus 40 minutes plus 20 minutes. So then, since they're all the same type of unit, minutes, I can do my adding. I can add all of those numbers together. So I have my ones place. I've got zeros in my ones place. I'm going to go to my tens place now. 2 plus 4 is 6, plus 2 is 8. And then I have my hundreds place. So that's going to give me 180 minutes. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that into hours now. So I know if I look at 180, I'm going to look at 18 here, kind of like when we did our multiplication and we multiplied our tens. We looked in our tens place and just kind of did some multiplication that way. I'm going to look at my tens and my hundreds place and kind of think of that as 80, so, or 18. So what I'm going to show you here is this. I am thinking 180 divided into groups of 60. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to simplify that for myself. I'm going to think 18 divided by 6. Now I know that I did not lose those zeros. Those zeros are still there. I'm just kind of thinking of this in a different way, like just a simpler way. So if I think of 18 divided into groups of 6, I know that I can create, I can actually create 3 groups of 6 because I know 6 times 3 is 18. So that would be 3 groups of 6, which is actually the same answer as 18 divided by 60. There are 3 60s in 180. So I'm getting the same answer now. So I'm going to say 3 hours is our elapsed time. So that one is your first type of strategy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the video at this moment in time, and then you're going to go to the next video and you're going to see that next strategy.